Oh, I
The
got
future
control.
notes, it says
Audacity.
purge staff, dry January.
Purge stuff.
That's
These,
your
these,
that's your
these are my
resolutions.
notes. Yeah, these are my
Oh, okay.
resolutions. Get your own resolutions.
Oh, so put Chris in there then.
I'm the only one that types in this document, so by default, everything in this document is mine. You guys never contribute, just FYI.
That's my New Year's resolution to stop contributing.
Yes, totally,
Stop contributing.
totally.
It's just like your
Stop.
resolution is to quit smoking.
Hello, my friends.
Thank
Hey
you
now.
for joining us
Hey
for
now.
the PEBCAK Podcast,
Hey now.
a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. This is bonus episode 1 for the month of December. I'm Chris Louie, and happy to be joined by my two co-hosts to deliver you world-quality content in the month of December when we're supposed to be taking the month off.
You
With
can't
me?
say it's a weekly podcast anymore. We're not doing it every week this year. So
Not right
That's
now.
140 straight episodes, no breaks. This is the first time we're taking a break.
Well,
Well,
first
especially
time
for
you're
you,
taking
Chris.
a break.
Yeah.
Very true.
He's gonna go work for DoorDash after this because he's wearing the hat. So
Adorable.
With me, I have the Cloud God, where it is now probably snowing where you are.
Yeah. People don't believe it snows in Arizona, but apparently it does. I'm sorry. The vodka mule's already kicking in. Apparently it does snow if you're in the high country of Arizona. So cheers to Flagstaff. We love it here.
cheers,
Cheers.
cheers. You said cheers. We got cheers.
Meow.
As mentioned on episode 140 last week, this will be a drinking episode for the bonus episodes this month. So we should be having some adult beverages and some good conversation today.
Well, it is late in the evening. So what else do you do late in the evening?
And we have Glenn Medina, who is gearing up to take that cold plunge into his pool. It's quite cold up here in NorCal now.
It is. Have you guys ever done a cold plunge? Like,
Yeah, all
I'm,
the
I'm,
time.
I'm worried about doing it because I might like go into cardiac arrest.
Nah.
Nah,
I haven't
just do
done it. I
Just
heard
do it.
the longer you do it, it's actually there are a lot of good health benefits to it.
Yeah, but you have to do it in the morning. You don't want to do it in the evening. So after a good workout, go take a cold plunge. I might start doing it this year. So we'll see.
I recommend it. Yeah, if you can
It'd
get
be
it
like
cold
a
enough.
shock to your body, though. Like if you have like a really hot glass and then you run into cold water, it shatters. Like, wouldn't the same thing happen to your body if you're really hot from working out and then you jump into ice water? Wouldn't that shock your body?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe all the oils in my bloodstream will just lock up my heart.
So it definitely wakes you up, and I've done it at night before, and that kind of sucks because there's no sunlight as a reprieve when you get out. It's just freaking cold. You know what I mean? And when you get in there, and if you've never done it before, and I've never even done the stuff where it's like 33 degrees cold and moving. I think the coldest my pool's ever been is like 40. And getting in there is just, as soon as you get in, it's like instant panic. You're just like looking around like, how the hell do I get out of here? And it takes everything
Fight or
in
flight
you.
kicks in.
Yeah, it's just like
Do you
gotta
jump
control
in or do you step in slowly?
I'll walk in all sexy like.
No,
You
the
know, wake
plunge.
up the neighbor.
The plunge and
Yeah.
the cold plunge means you just dive right in. No slow
Yeah.
walking in.
I mean,
Well,
slow
my
walking
food-
in is like it takes 5 seconds, right? I'm not trying to undress the pool with my eyes, but
Well, yeah. I did do the cold plunge when I was in Iceland. I thought that was really cool, but it was really cold. I think it was like 40 degrees. So it was quite frigid. But what was nice afterward there was a 100-degree spa or a hot tub, a natural spring that was there, and that was there to like warm you back up again. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. Are you supposed to do that, Brian? After the cold plunge, do you go take a hot shower?
no,
Or do you just stay cold?
Yeah, just stay cold. I know Rogan,
cold.
he does the plunge and then he'll go do the sauna after that.
No, do
Yeah.
some DMT while he's at it.
Yeah,
Insane.
I told you guys, right? I'm Asian, so I got a feeling like all the fatty oils in my body will just coagulate, and my heart will just give out. So
That's hilarious. I will tell you, one time I was up north in Sedona area, specifically Side Rock, and it was probably like May. I mean, it was still kind of warm, but Slide Rock is exactly what you would think it is. It's like natural water slides, but it's all snow runoff from the high country, and you're not that far away from the high country from where that's at. And I just remember getting into the water, and like, you know how like you're like, oh yeah, shrinkage, or you know, your balls disappear. It wasn't even that. It was the
cold.
The testicular pain associated, like it wasn't that it was just cold. It just felt like somebody was just down there just squeezing them as hard as they could, and I'm just like, why does this hurt so freaking bad? And yeah, I kept doing it, but whatever. But it was painful, man. And then like even then, like you're getting out of the water, and you're like, you know, you're trying to push them down and trying to warm them up with your hands, but your hands are cold, so it's not doing any good. I don't know, it was weird, but yeah, definitely painful.
So what you're saying is you like it when your balls
TMI
shrink that
there,
fast,
Brian.
right? Yeah.
Some people pay for
balls
that,
don't
Brian. You got it for relatively cheap.
Yeah. I also
And
saved a kid that day, but whatever.
And Glenn with the humble brag, he's like, he took a cold plunge when I was in Iceland, and I took a nice hot sauna afterwards. Life is so hard.
It was really tough
massage.
in June. Yeah. Was that June or July? It was just this year though, so.
Yeah, 2023 has been a pretty crazy year. I know we say that every year, especially since the pandemic. We said, 2020 was a crazy year. 2023, definitely another crazy year for the books.
I mean, I'd rather go back to pandemic times. That was the bomb, man.
During during the initial stay at home, everything's closed. You really like that?
Like the first year. I mean, well, my reality was a little bit different, right? It was only 2 weeks where stuff was like an inconvenience, right? Where things were closed, and then after that, everything opened back up. But yeah, it was just good times. Customers were in a panic, right? They just had to buy something. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like it was just, you know, stuff was just jumping off the shelves.
When I was in Arizona a few weeks ago, I was talking to someone that was local there when you fled the state, so you didn't have to hang out with me, Brian. I was talking to someone there, and they were comparing during the pandemic of how Arizona was to California, and I was telling him, in California, if the police saw you driving around and you weren't going to a grocery store, the doctors, like they could pull you over and cite you. And he was saying, in Arizona, we had 2 weeks of lockdown, and then it was just like open everything, like no big deal.
You know what didn't make any sense to me was like outdoor activities. Like, why couldn't I just walk around? I wasn't going to affect anybody. Like you're outdoors to begin with, right? Were they afraid that COVID was going to jump from one person to the next in the great outdoors of a walking path?
I mean, even like
the
parks,
no one
parks
knew how
and
it really
playgrounds were closed. Yeah. It's like kids are locked up at home.
Beaches
There's nothing
were
to do. Yeah, the beaches were closed. The parks are closed. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I will say in all honesty, like even during our 2 week lockdown where you were supposed to wear a mask inside like a grocery store, I didn't wear it. I was like, I don't even care. Like, just give me some COVID at this point. I'm not really.
Mr. Caught it 3 times.
Only twice. But it's like it's
that
like
we know of.
A nuisance.
That we know of.
No.
that you tested for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Dude, I was talking to somebody else the other day on the East Coast. I think it was one of the marketing people, and she's like, "Yeah, I never got it." And I was like, "Dang, you're like one of my 2 Asian friends, except for you're not Asian and you're not a dude, and you didn't
typo."
That's what you guys have in common, though.
Yeah,
typo. There you go.
Yeah, there's only a few of us left that have never caught it.
Dude, the reason why I say this is like during the pandemic, right? Like gas was cheaper. I just pulled like a picture of when I filled up my old truck. And it was like $1.77 a gallon for like premium. I was just at the store yesterday. I was like, I wanted some crunchy peanut butter. And I kid you, like, no joke. I remember buying it for like 79 cents, like the Kroger brand. And now it's $2.99. I was like, this is freaking crack prices, man. I don't know what to do.
Shut up.
Meanwhile, Captain Crunch was 99 cents
yeah.
And then, Captain Crunch, though, is 99 cents a box if you bought 5. So I did that.
There's a win for sure.
That's the reason why I'm so full right now. An entire box of Crunch Berries.
Captain Crunch.
Top of my mouth is completely
Destroyed.
gutted and ruined. Yeah. Gotta wait for them to get soggy, but they taste so good. Chris is yawning already.
No, I'm about to sneeze. I'm trying to sneeze.
So he's
look at the
pointing
moon
to his nose. That's right. You have to look up and touch your nose.
Yeah. And then teabag your toilet.
Yes. You should remember toilet paper gate. Do you guys remember that? Like,
Oh my gosh.
oh, there you go.
Bless
There
you.
it was.
God bless you, Gesundheit. There you go. There you go.
You know,
There
yeah,
it is.
yeah. I remember I called one of my friends. I was like, yeah, man, it's kind of wild. Like, just checking in and see how he's doing. He's like, yeah. He's like, I hope these idiots can eat toilet paper. And it's like, you have a point, right? I have a bidet.
Joke's on
I
you.
ended up getting one. I ended up getting a bidet after COVID, and I love it. I don't want to leave the house anymore. It's pretty damn cool.
Now, do you have
Do you guys?
Do you have the one that actually
Yes.
shoots out the warm water?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
I had to put a plug in my bathroom
Yeah.
just for that. Yeah, it's worth it.
That's
Worth
on my
every penny.
during the
It's not a
remodel.
honeydew list. It's a Brian do list, and on the adjacent wall up high is an outlet. So I'm just gonna cut a whole pigtail off of that, put one in. That way I can wash my butthole with warm water, like a.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
mine. Mine was on the outside wall, and I reversed it. I put a plug on the other side.
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah, heck yeah. I'm gonna do
Oh,
it
good for you,
myself.
man.
So we did during the remodel. It's like when we redid all the bathrooms, we put a plug near every toilet just in case for future
Dude,
play.
your
put a
house
plug-
better look like Mar-a-Lago, man, because you've been there for 2 years. 2
You put
years.
a plug. You put a plug by each window just so you can get automation.
I did, yeah. There's so many outlets, so many Cat 6 connections. It's ridiculous, but it'll be future proof for the next 30 years.
Better watch out. Some
Your house is
methamphetamine
gonna take
addicts are going to
over.
come in there and just rip all the copper out because it's
Pretty
worth more
much,
than your
yeah.
house.
Your house is gonna take over you, and it's gonna be like, "No, Chris, you cannot leave the home."
It's got to be self-aware. It's like, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
I cannot do that.
Chris, you're
Yeah,
not wearing
you're-
your mask.
You're not safe.
Can't
know-
unlock
you
the
know-
front door.
Christopher Young up in Canada, he claims that he had like facial recognition for people walking into his house, like his loved ones, that could predict their overall mood. So if his daughter walked in and she's getting ready to throw like a little bee fit, like he knew, like it'd show up and a little frowny face or something. I was like, man, I need one of those for like that time of the month, right? Because like that thing
Yeah,
sneaks
steer
up on me,
clear.
just bites me in the butt. Like I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, maybe like some little ocular bleeding, maybe like just like a little teardrop will just runs down your cheek. I just know there's something going on, or maybe like a
There's
flaming
this thing called this.
burning tire.
There's this thing called. There's this thing called the cycle. There's actually a calendar for it. You can
Time
get
out,
it. It's
time
on your
out.
phone. It's called
So
every
it's built
28
into the
days.
health app. However, the problem with this is there is 4 women in my house. Do you know how creepy it is to go on Google to try to track 4 different people's periods? Nope.
Dude, who are you talking to?
Were you tracking
Someone's
your
got 4
kids
women
too?
in the house.
No, I just stayed gone. I just traveled. What are
Oh
you talking
jeez, I
about?
can't do that. And
I think I'm going to go on a road trip.
That whole rumor that like, girls in
sync.
sorority, they all sync up. No, that's total BS because I got
Yeah.
a bunch of women in my house and they don't sync up at all.
No.
It's like every week is Hell
Just
Week.
one a week
Shark
for 4
Week.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're just in perpetually. It's sort of like that that fun fact about the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco. By law, the Golden Gate Bridge has to be painted every 3 years. It takes 3 years to paint the Golden Gate Bridge, so the Golden Gate Bridge is always perpetually being painted.
Mm-hmm.
So during RSA, I think the bridge wasn't the orange color. It was like a grayish color for some reason. I thought they had actually changed it. And then my
Sure,
daughter,
you're not talking about the other bridge.
Yeah, you're probably talking about the
There's
Bay
another
Bridge.
you think so?
If you can't see the Golden Gate
Yeah.
Bridge from downtown San Francisco.
No, we walked down to the wharf to have some. That's when Ron
Yeah,
stepped
that's
in
Bay
Doom and
Bridge.
Doo-doo. Oh, that's the Bay
That's
Bridge?
the Bay Bridge.
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna look at my phone right now, and we're gonna see what's what.
I guarantee that's the Bay Bridge. You can't see the Golden Gate Bridge unless you're in the Presidio, which is clear across town from the
Fisherman's
pier.
Wharf.
You act
Yeah.
like you live there, man. You don't know nothing.
He lives in South Bay. What are you talking about? He can't even see the bridge from over there. Either bridge. But he can hear all the airplanes cross over.
No deal.
South San Francisco. That sounds like a low rent gang name.
South San Francisco.
Yeah.
South.
You didn't hear the comment about why it's so foggy in South San Francisco?
Daly City, Glenn. Get the joke, right?
Or Daly City. Daly City, South San Francisco, Daly City. It's all the same. It's because of all the rice cookers with their steam.
Yeah, because there's so many Asian people where I live, Glenn.
Are there a lot there?
Yeah, there's a lot of Filipino people in Daly City. Yeah, if you ever
There are.
you watch the Joe Coy, the comedian, he made a movie called Easter Sunday, and it took place here in Daly City / South San Francisco.
No, I did not see that movie. Did you guys watch Ken's Convenience Store yet? Or whatever it was called?
Oh, the Canadian one?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
I watched a couple YouTube clips of it. I thought it was pretty funny.
It's so funny, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
The convenience store actually changed their name to Ken's Convenience Store just to portray that
To match the show.
Yeah,
Look at
just to
that.
match the show.
Go
That's
all
actually
in.
really cool. Yeah.
That's good. I like those brand collaborations. Like, remember when the Simpsons movie came out and 7-Eleven had the official pink donut from the Simpsons movie?
Yeah. Well, they already had the Abu. Oh, did I say that?
Apu. Get it right.
Apu. So. All right.
When was the last time you guys actually watched The Simpsons?
I haven't watched it in a
Last week.
long time.
I'm waiting for them
kinda
to
funny.
be coming up with like more stuff where they were right about things. Because then I think the last time I heard something was like Trump getting elected. I think that was one of them.
Yeah, that was one of the predictions they made that was eerily accurate.
South Park too, right? South Park had a couple episodes that were really good.
Well, South Park had the pun on that. The Simpsons did it first.
Yeah.
We need to sit down. Maybe that's what we'll do at our security summit. We'll just watch South Park. Bring your funniest episode.
So South
What do you think Guy would bring to the security summit?
I don't
For
know.
like just something random. It doesn't have to be The Simpsons or
He likes that
This guy-
Netflix show about the Indian matchmakers.
What?
What? That is definitely not in my algorithm.
Yeah, there's some show on Netflix about Indian matchmakers, and he's a big proponent of that show. I don't remember what it's called. I think it might just be called like Indian Matchmaker or something.
Yeah.
There's like 2 seasons of it at least when I was still subscribed to Netflix.
Bro, I'm watching Survivor again. I'm on season 25.
Really?
That's how bored I am. I'm just going back to reality TV shows that I know that can be somewhat entertaining.
Remember Richard Hatch?
Yeah.
It's like him and Wesley Snipes. So for those of you who don't know, Richard Hatch won Survivor, won the $1 million prize, and didn't pay taxes on it. And it's one of those things like, what were you thinking? You're such a high profile person, won $1 million prize, didn't pay taxes on it. How did you think you were going to get away with this?
I mean, I know people to this day that don't pay taxes.
It's only a matter of time.
Were you one of them?
85,000 new IRS agents, they're going to catch up to you.
Well, this particular person's on meth. I don't think they've ever filed taxes before.
On the topic of tax, so you know what my beef is with the IRS, and we might have talked about it before about
Get ready for bonus episode 1002. I'll be here a while.
Yeah, and for those at the IRS, I'm not good friends with Chris Louie. Okay, let's get that straight right now.
you know what my beef
What's your
is with
beef?
the IRS. Okay, so,
You know what really chaps my hide?
you know what really grinds my gears is so
Okay,
us in
Peter.
California, we got a reprieve. We didn't file until October 16th this year because of the devastating floods and wildfires and the like or whatever. So I file my taxes like a normal tax-paying American. I hire a CPA. I hire a professional to do that job because I don't trust myself to get everything accurate, and I pay the $600 a year to do that. They file my taxes. Everything's good. I'm pretty accurate this year. My taxes due was in the 4-figure range for the first time ever. And then
I
I'm
still
like,
can't believe you hired somebody, and I'm in shock here because you do everything yourself. But go ahead, please.
You don't F with the IRS. That's my one rule. You don't
Okay.
you don't mess with the IRS. When it comes to the IRS, I'll pay to stay off the
Bro,
radar.
for $600, right? It's that guy's problem, right? You're going to file it, and then if I re-audit it, it's on you to figure it out.
You
Exactly.
I
still
don't
go
have
to
to think
jail
about
though.
Well,
Still your signature.
What kind of fraudulent tax person are you using, man? But don't get me wrong, I hate paying taxes, but I don't mind paying them. That's better than going to jail.
Anyways, let's let Mr. DoorDash driver read his story.
So we file the taxes. I pay my fine for being an American, hardworking American, and then like, no joke, like 3 weeks later, the IRS is like, "Oh, you underpaid by this amount," and my beef is, it took you 3 weeks to figure out exactly how much I paid. Why am I paying an accountant $600 a year to figure out how much I pay when you know exactly how much I should pay because you came after me for underpaying? Like, you know this. You know exactly how much I should pay. Just calculate it for me and give me a bill. Why do we have to have this middleman here?
Okay. Now, did you handle that? Did you just write a check, or did you hand it over to your CPA and say, "Hey, dude, I got a problem here. Why are they asking for more money?"
So for 2 years in a row, my quote professional CPA has screwed up my taxes, and I pay estimated, so I pay quarterly estimates.
Yeah,
and I pay what I think is owed, but for some reason, my genius CPA double counts it every year for some reason. I don't know why. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, I shouldn't be using this firm anymore. But I've accumulated so much in taxes and interest and penalties that I have a credit for said CPA firm for the next 5 years. So I have to stick with them. But somehow they managed to screw it up, and they double counted my estimated taxes. So the amount that I owed was the amount that they double counted. So it's like, yeah, I actually do owe it. But the IRS knew this. So again, why didn't you just figure it out for me, give me the bill, instead of having me hire a CPA firm to figure it out for me?
So it's not like the CPA is going to cover those fees, right? They're just like, "Hey, so sorry, we'll take care of it for you, but you still have to pay it."
So one fun fact, I called my CPA out on that. I called the owner of the firm. So I got his number. I called the owner, and he says in 49 out of the 50 states, they're a nationwide firm. In 49 out of the 50 states, the CPA can cover the penalties and taxes and interest and the like. For some reason, in California, they said the CPA firm is not allowed to cover it by law. Like, the CPA firm cannot, for some, I don't know, conflict of interest reasons, that if they screw up, it's not on them. I don't know who lobbied for that law, but in California, they're not liable for that. So I cut a deal with the owner and says, I had to pay X amount in penalties and fines. Therefore, I have a credit at your firm for the equivalent amount. He says, yeah, that's fair. So that's why I'm stuck with this firm for the next X number of years until they finally pay off this credit that they owe me.
Chris, if you're paying estimates, I don't think it's X amount. It's X amount of decades. There's no way. If he doubled your quarterlies, that's insane.
Are you guys paying estimates? You guys, like I said, I don't. Are you paying estimates? I don't
normally do, but last year I had overpaid, so I put it forward towards this year.
Yeah, I mean, I keep track of all my transactions. So if I owe something, I will pay the quarterlies rather than get hit with the penalty at the end of the year.
Yeah,
I pay the penalty. Well, hold on to my money as long as I can, because I get more in interest off of that than the government does. So,
anyways, so I'm literally a nobody. So when you think of me as a nobody, and they're hiring 85,000 additional agents, they're really coming after people to pay their fair share.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy. So was it?
I just feel like we're overtaxed
paying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I owe this, so I just paid it. And there's some complications in it because I'm in a quote disaster relief area, so I'm not entitled. I don't have to pay certain penalties and interest. And then I got the bill, and then my CPA is guys, yeah, you don't owe this because you're in a disaster area. Then 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail from the IRS, and oh yeah, sorry, we screwed up. You don't actually owe the penalties and interest. You just owe us what you actually owe us. So then I just wrote a check and paid it off.
Did you really write a check, or did you go on to irs.gov and make a payment?
Yeah, half a dozen one hand, six in the other. Potato.
I would have rolled up with a truckload of pennies and just delivered it to the IRS.
They don't accept cash.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't the government. I think it was like a contractor or something, and the guy felt like he was extorting him, but he paid him, so he just brought like dump trucks full of pennies, and he says, "So you technically, legally, I paid you, but you have to deal with these pennies."
So I feel like Glenn does not leave any money on the table at all. I think you're probably super aggressive with your taxes.
Aggressive is an interesting term, Brian.
No. By the way, I'm like literally the only person drinking on this podcast. Like I'm sitting here staring at you. I don't see I don't see this at all.
No way. We're being sipping. You're crazy.
You're not sipping nothing. You were like a Unabomber manifesto looking dude. You're blew out.
What are you drinking? Your apple cider?
Nah, vodka.
Vodka.
Vodka mule.
Be honest, Brian. That's 5% ABV.
Yeah.
Read the can.
I'm taking mint, so I sound
7%.
I sound weird
Because that's better.
Yeah, I guess
7%'s not good.
No, I got 40 proof, 80 proof, so 40% in here.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's also
incognito.
in a woman's jug, so I don't want to hear about that. And I'm not talking about.
What are you drinking? Vodka? Or are you drinking
Cuba Libre.
Cuba Libre?
Through a straw. Yeah, I got something for you to suck on.
I'm drinking spice rum tonight because that's spicy. I like the
I'm going to
spicy.
grab a beer or something after this.
Why is it spicy?
You're not supposed to mix your liquor. What's wrong with you?
Hard alcohol before beer, and you're in the clear, Glenn.
Beer before liquor, much sicker.
Never sicker. Yep.
I don't like to do either, so either way, it makes me not a happy Glenn. So
This is actually a good bonus episode. Just us. It's like a guy's poker night. We haven't even come up with our first topic yet.
ooh,
Oh, were we supposed to do that?
we had pre-planned it, but yeah.
well, it's
the
Brian
content
ranting
is good.
about the time of each month, and then Chris and his tax woes. So,
Well, I can go on for hours about the whole tax lobby and Intuit getting in trouble and everything, but well, I have to say that for another topic.
I honestly, I wouldn't be opposed. Like, if I could just get a letter in the mail at the end of the year from IRS, like, hey, you either owe us or you don't, and here's your refund, I would be totally okay with that.
And that's what I'm saying. The IRS knows exactly how much I should have owed them, and they knew in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Like it took. I mean, it doesn't take my CPA that long to figure things out. Like, they have all my information, but like the IRS knows. Why can't they just do that? Like, is the tax lobby that strong that they have to necessarily keep this middleman in the way of everything?
Lord knows.
Flat tax. Check it out.
Flat.
I love
Flat
it.
tax.
Let's do it. Let's do the flat tax.
All right, 28 minutes into the podcast for our first topic.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a podcast here?
New Year's resolutions. So it is a bonus episode in December. We are looking forward to 2024. 2024 is the leap year. Mark your calendars. New Year's resolutions. What are you guys looking at? For me, we are moving in late 2023, early 2024. So purge stuff, definitely. We've been living here for the last 12 plus years. Accumulated a lot of stuff, especially with...
You can't purge children, Chris.
Especially with the kids and how we
But
have
you can purge
two.
rabbits.
I was going to say you can purge the bunnies.
There's no plan to adding to the Louis clan, so any of the stuff that is for younger kids, we're definitely going to purge and find good homes for. Dry January, I think it was pretty much a consensus. We've talked about it a couple of times on the show that the three of us are going to participate in what's called Dry January, so no alcohol for the entire month of January. We've destroyed our livers for the last 11 months. I think
I didn't agree to that.
No, wait, what are you talking about? I did dry September and October.
Yeah, you said dry September, but it's a known thing that it's called Dry January.
Why do you get to tell all of your New Year's resolutions all at once? Why don't we just go in a circle here, Mr. Monopolize the Time?
All right, so I did my first two. Each of you do your first two then.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
All right. So my New Year's resolution number 1 is I want to get a pilot to announce this over the PA. And he's like, yeah, this is your captain speaking. We've reached 69,000 feet. We can't survive this, but it was totally worth it. I think that would just be so much fun. And then my other
How do you plan on
resolution-
accomplishing that, Brian? Let's hear that.
Sweet talk him, I guess.
Social
I bet.
engineering.
Social engineer. Maybe if it's the guy's like last flight. I've been on a couple of those where it's like Chris is getting the COVID. Look at him, he's sneezing, he's blowing his nose now. All this talk. Oh, I'm the perfect human being. I can't get sick. Look, he's sneezing.
COVID free
since 2020.
Yeah, but he'll take the at-home test that expired years ago.
That's why he's negative. That's why he has been. That's why he's negative, because he's taking the expired COVID test. Yeah.
And then Chris, like, I'm just looking at how dumb he is, man. Like, I don't understand. He's got a stupid DoorDash hat on, and like he's El Cheapo, but he spent money on that.
Fun fact: I did not spend money on the DoorDash hat. There was a coupon code that was sent out to all the DoorDash drivers, or dashers as they call them, and this code got leaked online. So I'm like, hey, it was. There's a hidden store for DoorDash drivers. They can get swag. So you get a hat, you get a t-shirt, you get a blanket that's branded DoorDash. This code got leaked online, so I went on there, and it was $10 off any order over $10. So the hat was $10. I got the $10 code. This hat was literally free.
But you have to pay for shipping. Right?
No shipping.
Ethically, it's not right.
No shipping. Yeah.
Ethics out the window. I held you to a higher standard, Christopher.
Oh,
You're talking to the guy that's got In-N-Out shoes. You're talking to the guy with In-N-Out shoes as well.
On his ivory tower here, Brian. Looking down on us from up above.
That's the air is thin up here. All right, so my second New Year's resolution, I want to convince squirrels to take over the world, and I'm going to start by offering them tiny little hats as a political manifesto.
I mean, I don't think you have to do much convincing of that. I think squirrels will eventually take over the world. That's their end goal. So,
if you can't read between the lines, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions.
I think it's pigeons and fireheads. They're going to take over the world.
Birds aren't real, Glenn. Get it right.
No? What are they?
No.
Binomial.
Yeah. It stands for an acronym. Bird stands for an acronym.
Really?
Bipedal.
Bipedal. That's right.
Bipedal something.
Bipedal.
Yeah. Anyways, birds aren't real. They're all fake. They're all implants by the NSA, and they're all listening devices, Glenn. So try to get it right.
That's like Birds in the Skies? Is that a cartoon? Is that the one?
Bipedal something reconnaissance devices.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to stop being angry.
That's a good
Hopefully,
one.
I'm going to try to be a lot happier this next year. Different outlook on life. So,
I can't believe that you're an angry person. I've never seen it.
Oh, I'm a very angry person. It's
who do you take it out on?
I think the account managers, but we'll see.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they kind of deserve it. Yeah.
And my kids. I love my kids. I need to stop being angry. So I'm going to try and do that. And I like to actually read a book, like maybe one every other month. So I'm going to go for 6 books this next year. I haven't read a book in quite a while. I've been doing Audible, but I'd like to go back to actually reading something. So
yeah, I don't think it's that bad, like Audible versus reading, because like I think I announced on the podcast I bought a Kindle. I like rarely use the Kindle, like the paperweight, but I've listened to 2 audiobooks a month just because, like, when I'm working on the new house, like I just throw on the audiobook when I'm driving to work. I throw on the audiobooks. So, I mean, it's pretty much equivalent. I don't think you have to physically read the book versus getting it via audio format. And I think as long as you absorb the content either way.
Well, I think it prevents me from multitasking, because if you listen versus read, you can't really multitask while you're reading, right? So, like you were saying, trying to kill 2 things at one time. I'd like to go back to just trying to focus and being able to focus on reading something versus, trying to listen to an audiobook and let's say, hammer or do yard work or do something else. I think that's a little bit, I think you should get a little split brain there.
I can't do that. I was trying to listen to the Cameron Haynes podcast today while I was doing some stuff on my truck, and I just got annoyed. I'm like, shut the F up, dude. And I just, I'm like trying to put the screw in.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like to finish, my last one for me is I'd like to finish one of my cars, one in the garage, either the Z or the 65 Mustang. I'd like to get it just rolling ready so the kids can use it, because I think I'm at that point now where I want my cars running. So there's 2 cars that aren't running at top notch, and I'd like to get them running. So
here's Glenn again with the humble brag. I want one of my cars. I got to work on one of them. One of my many cars.
17
yeah,
in my 20-car garage.
They're all not in great condition. I just want it running. I didn't say, like pristine, restored. So
I want to go buy like an old, like I did want like an old Bronco, but they're astronomical now. So I was thinking maybe to like go buy like a 70s, maybe early 80s, like Chevy Blazer. Like that hasn't seemed to have caught fire yet, and modify that. It's an old square body. It's still pretty nice.
Yeah. I got an FJ. You want an FJ?
Is it for sale?
Yeah.
Is it running?
Everything's for sale for a price.
It's been fully restored, Brian.
Oh, all right. We'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's me. That's Glenn. Brian is making stuff up. I guess I'll go next then. Continue reading and listening to audiobooks. Like I said, there's many tasks that I do that it's good, and I can listen to an audiobook, and listening to it either passively or actively, and then learning a new skill. So I'm looking at things like Hack the Box, either sharpen my cybersecurity skills or go totally on the opposite end, do a digital detox, and want to get into woodworking. So as a side effect of getting the new house and working on it and fixing it up, I've accumulated quite a collection of power tools, and woodworking is just one of those natural things that lends itself to having lots of power tools and more space. So if I could make something like a bourbon bottle holder or something like that, I think woodworking would be one of those things that I can start to look into.
That's a beautiful FJ Cruiser. On the woodworking note, I 100% love it to death. Like, this is my favorite thing. But one of the things that I learned early on is that not all wood is created equal, right? Like, there is fundamental differences, and if you don't have a plan and stuff like that, it is a mother effort to get anything done. So when you start taking on these projects, just buy some, good oak, some cherry wood, stuff that you could get, finished up real nice. Otherwise, be, perplexed as to why your 90s and 45s aren't adding up every single time. Nothing's straight. Nothing's ever straight at the Home Depot.
Yeah. Woodworking is fun. It just takes your time off. It's just like, for me, working on cars just takes your mind away from stuff. Like, I don't want to think about computers all the time, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to think about security. Just trying to do something else.
That's pretty much
outside
like
of your normal
the
work.
Polar opposite of what we do all day for our day jobs is like blue collar work. So it's go out fishing, go out and do woodworking, something like that.
Yeah.
So Glenn, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Chris is thinking about doing some woodworking here, and I've done lots in my day. And you did your floors like 20 years ago, right? And which is not woodworking, but it's you're swinging your own hammer, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like every single imperfection just stares at you daily every time you walk by it?
Yeah. You do.
Yeah,
You go, man, why is that tile sticking up? You're like, holy like, oh, that sounds hollow over there when I step on it. But, you kind of learn to live with it. And the only one that notices is you. Like, I've had my wife's friends show up over the last 20 years, or relatives and family come over and friends, and they're like, man, this is beautiful. I can't believe, you only paid $3,000 for this floor when, that's just all material, and it was my work, it was my labor, right? And if I would have paid somebody else to do it, it would have been a $20,000 floor. So to me, I can live with it. I used to like not sleep over it, thinking that I'm going to tear it out and do it again, and I've gotten over that. I think it's just a little bit. So, but now I also take a little bit more time to go, okay, let me go do this right. Let me go watch a YouTube video. Let me go practice, and then I'll go attack it. So,
all right, good. I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only psychopath that is haunted by their own work.
Imagine working on a car and you're working on paint or body, and you screw up one portion of the paint or one portion of the body, and you're like, or you scratch the body after it's painted. You just hate yourself, right? But you're like, yeah, okay, it's not a show car anymore. So, and that's one of the things that I do when I'm working on cars. I just have to remember it's not a show car. It's meant for me to drive. It's going to get dents. It's going to get dings. It is what it is.
Yeah. So you can't get too attached to things. It's like, this is a car. It's meant to be driven. It's meant to be dinged. Like, if you want a pristine car, don't drive it. Just leave it in your garage. But that's not what a car is meant to do.
Yeah, I've had those experiences where I'm doing something, right? And then it's just like, it's at the end of the project, and you're like, you just realize, I messed up. My back's hurting. It's been, going on. Like, this is the 4th weekend in a row that you've been spent on it. You just want to be done with it. And it's like, did I just say screw it and just cut corners, or I just reset and do it right?
Yeah.
Always do it right. So, yeah.
But one of the things, like, we went through a remodel and renovation, and, like, I notice things like a little ding in the wall or something's not quite straight. And when we show people, like, oh, you can't really tell. Like, but I know. I know it's there.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Fun times.
Yep.
On a serious note, I guess I wouldn't call it a resolution, but maybe I'll see this thing through, because I've done like therapy back in the day, and then like I just get weirded out by it. I'm like, whatever, I'm not doing this. But I think I've shared with you guys in the group chat, like I've been going like for the better part, it's like 6 months now, and one of the recent things I had to do was like come up with like 10 memories of things that happened to me before I was 9 years old, right? And like writing that stuff down sucked, because like I felt like I couldn't really remember anything prior to 13, so I like really kind of dig down. And so we went through all that stuff, and then it was just like, took all this information in, and then he goes, experiences that we had when we were young manifest into expectations when we get to be, or when we become an adult. And I was like, all right, like I hear that. And I was like, so anyways, we're going through these things like one by one. We got through the first 2, and I'll tell you what, man, it is like, it's not easy. It's like a car wreck, to be honest with you. It's very, very, I'd be honest with you guys. It's super painful to go through. And it's super painful when you start looking at it through the lens of like the stuff that you really, really hated, and you thought that you were better than you're just like, nope, I'm that same a-hole, and I'm doing that to my own kids. And I'm just like, so anyways, like I still have like 8 more things to go through. And I was like writing this stuff down today. I'm like, he's like, so what do you think about this? I'm like, I think this is dumb, and I hate you. I don't want to ever think about this ever again.
Is it good memories? Good memories or bad memories?
8 out of the 10 were bad, and then 2 good.
Okay.
Yeah. I would share with you guys.
They were saying eight of the things like shape who you are today. Then is
all
it
10 of them? Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So one good example that I'll just give you guys real quick. It was a great one. Is that my grandparents growing up weren't my grandparents. They're like my step grandparents, but they were so freaking amazing. It was Grandma and Pap, and nothing but great memories and stories about them. But when it comes time to taking those experiences when I was a kid, and then how it translated into how I am as an adult, when I think about my daughters that are technically my stepkids, right? I don't see them like that. And it's because of the way that my grandparents treated me growing up. They didn't see me as the step grandchild. They just loved me unconditionally, and were always there and always had my back. My best memories as a kid were always at their house. So little things like that is kind of interesting. And then there's also, on the flip side, I know this is getting long, but would be how I expect my parents to be grandparents based on how they were grandparents, and they totally suck. I love them, but they suck. They're nowhere near like my grandma parent and Papa.
Well, then this totally explains why I'm an asshole then, right? Or why I'm grumpy. Because when I was young, I don't know if you guys remember, back then in the days, you could walk through the mall and you could smoke. I don't know if you guys remember that you could smoke in the mall. And at one point, my dad was a chain smoker, and I got too close to him, and he burned me on my arm. And he looked at me and said, "Don't get too close."
It's your
and he just
fault.
kept walking, and he just kind of looked at me and walked away. And I was like, "My arm is burning, and you just told me don't get too close."
Yeah.
So now I get that's probably why I'm a jerk sometimes. Don't get too close. So
Yeah. Extreme ownership.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So.
All right, what else do we got, Chris?
He's got to start recording episode 2 now.
I know,
Geez,
that's
like
like-
46 minutes in, we didn't even get to our second topic.
Nobody wants the topics.
All right, well, let's see how quickly we can rip through this one. So, Glenn brought it up. How did we come up with the PEBCAK Podcast? How did we come up with the name for it?
Well, I wanted it ID10T, but you guys said no. I still think it's a great name.
It is. I'm not
No?
arguing with you on that point, but when I looked up,
Demonetized.
no, it's like when I looked it up, and I did quite a bit of research before we kicked it off, because it was an idea that Brian had brought up, and I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We should definitely.
I did
do
not
this.
bring that up.
You did.
I didn't even know what the heck he was talking about.
The story originated with you because you said, how come our competitor has a podcast? How come we don't have a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, why don't we have a podcast? And the idea spawned from there. And then
it's all my idea.
One of the things for a catchy name is you have to have an alliteration. So I'm trying to think of something podcast. Something starts with a P. What's something clever that starts with a P? And we iterated a couple ideas. They're like PEBCAKs. And that's a clever play on problem exists between the chair and the keyboard. So that's how I came up with PEBCAK Podcast.
It's all your idea. I still like BAF, Brian and Friends, but no one likes it.
What were some of the other iterations? You don't remember any of the other iterations, Chris, that we went with?
It was
I said I wanted ID10T.
Yeah, I think Brian wanted Layer 8.
Brian and Friends. Yeah. Layer 8 was kind of weird for me. So, but there were 2 iterations of PEBCAK, though, right? It was PEBCAK, which was taken. So I think that's why we went with chair and keyboard.
Yes, that is correct. That's why we're PABCAK instead of KAC. Keyboard
In
and
fact,
chair,
that
chair
other
and keyboard.
podcast is nowhere to be found. They're dead.
That's true.
Losers.
Definitely surpassed them. We've also surpassed our competitor that originated this idea.
I think we passed all of our competitors, to be honest with you. There's no one else out there like us.
I don't think so, yeah.
Who's a competitor? What the heck? I'm not even with the company anymore. So.
It's on your hat, Glenn.
So, yep. All right.
Is this a PEBCAK Live? Is that what I'm saying?
PEBCAK Live.
PEBCAK Live.
We should be doing this. We should be streaming this on LinkedIn right now.
We should, but no one will be watching it at this late at night.
True.
Hey, we did pretty good on that LinkedIn Live, right? I thought that was actually a really good episode.
Yeah, Chris didn't like it because he's a little crybaby, but everyone else dug it.
I thought it was fine. It was good. It's good to get community engagement and live engagement that way.
Maybe once a year we do that, right?
We'll try.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, we continue to get great feedback about our dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
This week, we are all up. So who wants to go first?
I'll do it. I'll go.
Glenn's
I'll go.
first.
All right, Chris,
Do
this is
it.
for you, right? And then also for
Brian.
Mr.
Not
Brian
BF
over
for
here,
3000.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mr.
say
Clean
that.
over here.
Yeah, here we go. What are 100 rabbits hopping backwards called?
Oh, this is related to my joke. I know the answer.
Oh, I don't know it.
A receding hairline.
Wait a second. Good one. Good one.
All right.
All right.
so-
No, you go last, loser. All right. How does NASA plan their parties?
How?
They plan it.
Do.
Plan
Nice.
it. Yes. That's what I thought.
All right, so
All right, Chris.
I'm going to start an airline for bald people. It's called Receding Airlines.
This is a bunch of unhappy old men. You know what's funny? Like, whatever. No, I'll be quiet. We don't got time for this right now.
All right, well, that's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you all our listeners and subscribers who rate us 5 stars on the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show.
Happy New Year.
The best way
That's
to
right.
find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app.
Merry
My
Thanksgiving.
co-hosts, Brian Deach and Glenn Medina. I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week. And as always, have a nice day.
How is it that we had 2 jokes with the same pun, with the same
And I
punchline?
missed it. You know?
Yeah. Bald people.
Have a nice day.